My family. Oh, okay. Now, a teacher, where is it? Okay, a teacher in Oklahoma. Let me see here. This keeps doing this shit. Okay, Oklahoma teacher placed on administrative leave after video shows her calling a black student the N word. Now, a white Oklahoma teacher has been placed on administrative leave after a video recording during a class showed her calling her black student nigga, right? KWTV reports that the incident in question was recorded at Holdenville High School and shows the teacher say the slur during a tense argument with one of her students. Near the start of the clip, the student can be seen pacing while talking to someone on the cell phone about how he plans to walk home. The teacher wasn't happy about it and insisted that she would be keeping him in the classroom, right? The situation then proceeded to escalate when she tried to physically block the student from leaving the room. At one point, he could be heard calling her a bitch, which I'm going to get into that in a few minutes. And she proceeds to grab his backpack as he tries to leave. And she was heard saying, "You better watch where you touch me." The student said, the student said, "You better watch where you touch me," the student said, before she replied, "You better get yourself over here. You better get yourself over there, nigga. Do it." The whole classroom reacted to the moment with the gas, and she then attempted to justify her usage of the slur. She said, "I asked you what would happen if I said it, right? And so you didn't think it was okay, right?" So she's making it seem like that was a reactionary term she used because maybe the kid was saying nigga to her. Now I'm gonna get into the student because the student did some shit that I didn't like either, so we'll get into that. But it never seems to amaze me how many white people want to say the word nigga, right? That's always like a recurring theme with white people. If you had some of them be honest, they would say the word is horrible. No one should use it, right? Keep it in mind that that word, from my understanding and my research, that word has some African roots. And let's just say it didn't have any African roots, right? We as African people here in America, our whole MO, like what we have, a part of who we are as people is taking really fucked up situations, taking really negative situations that are perceived to be extremely negative. We take these situations and we dress them up in a way that makes ourselves feel better, right? Because we're in a country where we are so deprived of resources. We are attacked at every turn: prison system, school system, police system, right? We are attacked at every turn. So even if the word nigga didn't have African roots, which if you research it, it does, right? Even if it didn't, we are taking these words to kind of romanticize some of our pain. You know what I mean? But it still kills me that in American society, nigga is really the only word white folks can't say. So you're going to have them slipping up and saying it because they are control of everything for the most part. So a lot of them feel like, wait a minute, I'm white, goddammit. I can do what I want to do in this motherfucker. Why can't I say that word? You feel me? So, but her being a teacher should understand the gravity of that term. So under no circumstances should she have said that word. Now, of course, context is everything, and she was mirroring him. She didn't say nigga. I'm sorry. She didn't say nigger. She said nigga, and her voice inflection was mirroring him because he said it right before, right? So administrative leave my ass, she should be fired. Like I think certain shit in society just shouldn't be accepted at all. You a adult white woman, an adult Caucasian woman, you know the gravity of that word in society. But I'm sure she was feeling like if he can use it, I can. And that's a problem that a lot of white folks got in this country. You know what I mean? Because me personally, growing up in the community that was primarily black, you have some Latino people in the community, some Asian people in the community. And for me, this may be hypocritical, but after becoming friends with these people, because they're in your environment, they begin to say the word too, right? And you don't feel as offended because you're with them all the time. And you know they come from your same environment, you know there's no ill will with the word. Now, some people will say, I don't care if you're Mexican, I don't care if you're Asian, you can't say this shit around me. And I understand that too. But me personally, I'm just on some white shit. Like if you white, you can't say it. I don't care how close we are. I don't care if you've been living in this goddamn hood your whole life. Just the negative connotation that comes with somebody white saying it for me is much more serious. Like the slavery shit and how when they would say the word right after we end up dead somewhere, it's just difficult for me to ever allow somebody white to say it. But somebody may say that's hypocritical because if I got an Asian partner or Mexican partner, it wouldn't feel so bad to me. You know what I mean? And so the teacher should be fired. That shouldn't be tolerated at all, right? But another thing, like my black parents, right? Again, I don't know what happened before the video. I'm trying to shoot the brother a little bell here. Maybe they had a horrible relationship. Maybe she mistreated him. I'm not sure, right? But talking to an adult like that, now, granted, this may be a racist white woman who he has experienced a lot of things with to make him feel like I'm not respecting this adult. And I'm kind of with that. But let's say that's not the case. Calling a teacher a bitch, calling a teacher a nigga, like we need to be honest. Some of our young men, some of the young people in our community need to be reeled in a little bit. Like, you shouldn't be speaking that loosely to your goddamn teacher. And again, I keep saying I'm not sure what their relationship was beforehand, but if that was my son, I would want to reprimand the teacher and I would want her fired and I would go to great lengths to make sure this shit happened. But you can't be calling an adult a bitch. You can't be calling an adult a nigga. And we got so many kids, we got so many young men in our community that's being raised by young ass parents, right? Being raised by young ass parents, but they don't even realize what they're saying is offensive, right? Like this is the thing too. We can't always, yeah, we gonna bang on racism. Yeah, we gonna bang on the injustice that we face. But when we be on some bullshit, we gotta call that out too. You know what I mean? And we got way too many parents who are friends with their kids, who they allow them to cuss at them. They allow them to talk to them like a friend. And in my opinion, whatever you do in your house, whatever rules and traditions and regulations that you're governing in your home, whatever that is, that shit's gonna leak out to the real world, right? So if you got kids inside of your house that you're allowing to be disrespectful, even if it's playfully, right? You gotta realize how the system will react to that person, how the system will react to that black baby once they leave the fucking house. That's why it's extremely important inside of our homes to conjure up respect and structure. Respect and structure. Now again, you got to teach your kids about racism too, because you could be the most respectful kid in the world and still get treated like shit by somebody white outside of your house. That's just the reality of it, right? That's just the long and short of it. But without having context, seeing what I saw, a young man calling a teacher a bitch. He was too open, right? And on her end, you should never touch a student. I don't think any teacher should ever touch a student. If you got a student who's saying I'm about to leave, and they're adamant about leaving, let them leave. Call the principal. Call the type of security you have. Like there are other measures you can take without doing what she did. Now, of course, context is everything. But what we've seen in the video, that was just disturbing. A young man is trying to leave. You can't be pulling his backpack, telling him he's not going nowhere. That's not your job. You know what I mean? That's not really your job. So he did a couple things I didn't like, but ultimately, she's the adult in the situation, so she should have handled herself much differently. There's no goddamn way you're going to call a young black man a nigga. There's really no situation where I can see that being okay. You know what I mean? So that teacher needs to be fired, and that young man needs to be taught something about how racism works. He needs to be taught, excuse me, family, he needs to be taught respect, really. And I'm all for respecting elders, but if you are being disrespected, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, right? And that could have been the situation with this young man. But if not, if he's just openly, because I've seen this, like this is something I've experienced being a 40-year-old man, when I'm in a store or I'm around a group of men, a group of young men who are, I don't know, 13 to 18, they speaking however they speak. They saying nigga, they saying mother, they saying all this knowing that adults are near. So we in a position in 2021 where some of us, me included, like I'm guilty of this, of having kids at such an early age that we've created a smaller age gap between the adult and the goddamn child. That's why it's important in your house to make sure you garner respect. I tell parents all the time, if your kid don't respect you, they ain't gonna respect shit outside of your house. And that's the bottom line. And we need to realize how this system is constantly attacking us. Our black boys got to be ready for this system. And it's already fucked up that if you a 12-year-old black boy, you treat it like an adult in American society. White kids get to make mistakes. And I say this all the time, and I'm going to stand on this. White kids get to make mistakes in society. We, not as much. You could be 12, 13, 14. They presuming you to be a masculine-ass man. You know what I mean? Mike Brown's a teenager. Mike Brown was, I think, 17, 18. They expect us to believe that he's trying to take a police officer's gun and all this shit. I don't believe none of that, but they build us up to be these big spooky ass characters based on stereotypes, based on how society sees us. So our young men sometimes don't even got a chance, and anything can happen to them out there in the street. That's why I always think it's important inside of our home. We gotta teach respect though, because if you're going out there being disrespectful to everybody, it's gonna be even worse for your ass. You see what I'm saying? So